What would you do if the person you built your life with had a secret one? I'm not talking about a hidden pack of cigarettes. I'm talking about a whole other existence, running in parallel to yours, waiting for the perfect moment to delete you completely. For me, that discovery came on a Tuesday night, illuminated by the cold, sterile glow of a laptop screen I'd never seen before. It was tucked under a loose floorboard in her home office, a space I rarely entered. The file was named simply New Life. Inside, I found the divorce papers, already filled out. Her signature, a confident, arrogant slash of ink at the bottom. She hadn't just left me. She had erased me before I even knew I was gone, and the most chilling part, the date on the documents was from 6 months ago. If you genuinely enjoy our stories, please subscribe to the channel, tell us where you're from, and what time it is right now. It's always fascinating to know how far our story flows. For a year, I'd been living with a ghost. Isabel had become distant, a beautiful, cold statue in our Chicago brownstone. The easy laughter we once shared was replaced by a tight, polite smile. The late nights at her law firm became more frequent, the excuses more elaborate. Big merger, she'd say, waving a dismissive hand, her eyes already focused on her phone, which was always angled away from me. She started making little comments, sharp as paper cuts, about my work as a graphic designer. "It's a cute hobby, Mark," she said once, looking at a project I was proud of, "but it's not exactly setting the world on fire, is it?" The humiliation was a slow poison. I felt small in my own home. The first real thread I pulled was a receipt I found in her coat pocket, a late-night charge from the Aviary, a high-end cocktail bar on Fulton Market. She'd told me she was working late at her office in the Loop that night. The two locations were miles apart. A few days later, the credit card statement arrived. Dinners at Alinea, a weekend charge at the Soho House. I was never at any of them. The cold dread began to pool in my stomach. It was the classic ugly story I'd seen in movies, but it was happening to me. The final piece was the burner phone, a cheap prepaid device I found tucked into the lining of her gym bag. The messages were all there, a sickening archive of her betrayal. The sender was just Jay. The texts were graphic, filled with inside jokes and plans for their future, a future built on the ashes of our marriage. "Can't wait to be free of him," one text from her read. "He's so predictable. So boring." The affair partner, Julian, was a senior partner at her firm. He was everything I wasn't: old money, ruthless, and dripping with the kind of smug confidence that made my skin crawl. They felt untouchable, laughing at me from their ivory tower. That night, reading those texts, something inside me didn't just break, it shattered. I sat on the floor of our bedroom, the phone in my hand, and I was nothing. For a week, I was a ghost in my own life. I went to work, I ate, I slept, but I wasn't there. The man who loved his wife, who believed in their life together, was gone. His place was something cold and hard. The grief turned to ice, and the ice sharpened into a single clear purpose: revenge. She thought I was predictable. Good, she wouldn't see this coming. I didn't confront her. I played the part of the oblivious, slightly boring husband she thought I was. Meanwhile, I started gathering proof. I hired a private investigator, a grizzled ex-cop who knew the city's secrets. He got me everything. Photos of Isabel and Julian leaving a boutique hotel in the Gold Coast, hand in hand. Financial records showing Julian had made the down payment on a condo in a new high-rise. A condo meant for him and Isabel. The burner laptop was the crown jewel. Her entire plan was on it. Emails to a divorce attorney, spreadsheets detailing how she planned to hide their joint assets, and a draft of a letter to her parents announcing her new life with her true partner. She was going to leave me with nothing. The legal trap was the first part of my plan. I found a better lawyer, Shark. We used her own meticulously planned divorce filing against her. We filed first, using the evidence of the affair and her conspiracy to commit financial fraud. The second trap was social. Isabel was a pillar of her community, serving on the board of a major Chicago charity. Their annual gala was in 2 weeks. It was the perfect stage. The night of the gala was a movie scene. Isabel was radiant in a shimmering gown, Julian by her side introduced as her colleague. They moved through the room like royalty, accepting compliments, their arrogance a blinding light. I thought they had one. I arrived late, looking, I'm sure, like a man on the edge of a breakdown. Isabel saw me and her face tightened. "Mark, what are you doing here?" she hissed, grabbing my arm. "You're making a scene, am I?" I asked, my voice dangerously calm. I pulled my arm away and walked toward the stage, where the charity's chairman was giving a speech. I slipped him a note. He looked at it, his eyes widened, and he nodded grimly. A moment later, he cleared his throat. "Ladies and gentlemen," he announced, "we have an unscheduled announcement from Mark Sampson, a man who has just made an extraordinarily generous donation. A spotlight found me." The room went quiet. I could see Isabel's face, a mask of confusion and fury. Julian looked bored. "My wife Isabel," I began, my voice echoing through the silent ballroom, "has always taught me the importance of honesty. I let that hang in the air, so in the spirit of honesty, I'm donating $500,000 to this charity tonight." The room erupted in applause. It was money from a trust my grandfather had left me, money she didn't know the full extent of. "This donation," I continued, my eyes locking on hers, "is in honor of my wife and her colleague, Julian Croft, and the very close work they've been doing. So close, in fact, that I have a mountain of evidence showing my wife has been funneling our marital assets to Mr. Croft to defraud me in a divorce she planned 6 months ago." I projected the first image onto the massive screen behind the stage, a photo of them kissing outside the hotel. Gasps rippled through the crowd. I followed it with screenshots of her texts, the condo deed, the emails from her burner laptop. It was a systematic, brutal demolition. Her friends, her colleagues, the entire upper crust of Chicago society saw her for exactly what she was. She didn't scream. She just stood there, her face white as her entire world burned to the ground around her. Julian vanished into the crowd like the coward he was. Security escorted a catatonic Isabel out of the ballroom. The legal battle was short and bloody. She lost everything. The fraud charges stuck. She was disbarred. Her parents, horrified by the public scandal, cut her off. The last I heard, she was working as a paralegal in a small firm out in the suburbs, living in a tiny apartment. The beautiful, untouchable queen was just another person trying to make rent. I sold the brownstone and moved to a quiet neighborhood by the lake. Sometimes, when the water is still and the sky is gray, I think about that night, the cold glow of the screen, the woman I thought I knew. I won, but it didn't feel like a victory. It just felt quiet. The end.